This is what, if you have a paper and pencil, I would totally grab one, but we're going to go over this again anyway in the actual message. But I'm going to read you something from the book of Luke, chapter 24, verse 27. This is Jesus talking to his disciples. Look what it says in verse 27 in the book of Luke, chapter 24. It says, and beginning at Moses and all the prophets, he expounded to them, which means explained, in all the scriptures, the things concerning himself. This is in the New Testament. I'm about to explain this in a second, but this is Jesus talking to his disciples. And it says in verse 27, beginning at Moses. If you don't know what that means, beginning at Moses, let me grab this. Moses wrote the first 5 books. This is Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. It was all written by Moses. Jesus is saying, from beginning with Moses and all the prophets. Let me show you something. The prophets, Nevi'im. I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if you can see that. It's probably not even clear. Don't even matter. The prophets include all the prophets. So beginning from Moses and all the prophets, he explained in depth, he expounded to them all the scriptures concerning himself. Jesus is telling his disciples he's in the Old Testament. This is a New King James right here. The Old Testament in this King James, and the King James and the New King James are all these books right here. You know what's not in this book right here? Enoch is not in this book. The Apocrypha is not in this book. That means when Jesus was walking around, these were all the books that the Jews had. These are all the books that the Jews had. And he said, beginning from Moses and all the prophets, which is this whole thing right here, he expounded. Jesus said he was all up in this book. Now here goes the problem. Anybody telling you that the book has been edited and altered and et cetera, all this kind of stuff. Well, what happened to the Assyrians? What happened when they went to Babylon? All the Jews got exiled and captured and all this kind of stuff. These are the books they had. 39 of them, I believe. These are all the books they had. In these books, Jesus confirmed were the ones that spoke about him. Point blank, period. Where is the confusion? Just keep it simple. Where's the confusion? Now, I know the question got to be, well, what about the New Testament? The King James Version. Everybody love to say, oh, the boy was gay and he wrote these books and he changed stuff, blah, blah, blah. Let me read this to you. The New Testament is literally the testament of Jesus Christ. Because that probably, okay. The New Testament is literally birthed by the existence of Jesus Christ. If Jesus never walked this earth in flesh, it wouldn't be a New Testament. We would all have the same Tanakh that the Jews got if you cared about Judaism. The New Testament is literally the testimonies of Jesus Christ, meaning his birth, life, death, and resurrection. This is the reason and the birth of the New Testament. Now, a testament is tangible proof or a tribute. A testament is tangible proof or a tribute. The Bible is a tangible proof because you can read it in whatever language, you can read it. And it's a tribute from Genesis to Revelation. Who is it talking about? If I just told you the New Testament was only here because Jesus exists, and then Jesus turned around and said, oh yeah, the whole Old Testament was talking about me. All you need is the 66 book Bible. That's all you need. 66 book Bible. That's all you need right there. That's the one you need. Get you a King James or a New King James. Now, let me explain something else. A testament can also be, or is also, a will, which is an act by which a person determines the disposition of his or her property after death. Okay. An act by which a person determines the disposition of his or her property after death. When Jesus said it was done on the cross, that was deep. God is deep. There's depth to this stuff, which literally means the New Testament doesn't begin in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. It doesn't begin as in the begin. When you get to the gospel, you didn't reach the New Testament yet. The New Testament doesn't start until Jesus dies on the cross. That means until Jesus died on the cross, everything you read before, until he died on the cross, until the words he said, it is done, came out of his mouth, you've been under the old covenant. We're reading the old covenant all the way up until Jesus says it is done. On the cross, Jesus said, it is done. This is the New Testament. This is the testament. This is also entering the new covenant. Everyone, including the thief on the, listen, everybody, including the thief on the cross. Now, at the time of the cross, the thief was granted access into paradise. Understood. Until Jesus said it was done, then we entered a new covenant. This is the New Testament. And the King James Version is the most accurate book that covers everything just mentioned. No plus, no minus. Now, when you ask even a child, if the Bible says do not add and do not take away, what does that tell you to look for in the earth? What does that tell you? That means if there exists a book on this planet that has the most books in it, and there exists a book in this planet that has the least books in it, and it's called a Bible, you need to be aware and say, wait a minute. To keep it simple, get you the book that has all the books of the Old Testament, which means the ones that the Jews would have had under the Roman rulership while Jesus was walking around, confirming that these are the ones. And the one with the New Testament. Enough said on that. Moving on.